Stay tuned and let's take a look at this Marvel Legends Spider-Man retro card back, Hobgoblin. Ciao and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember, you can now hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Quite simply, show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we continue looking at this Marvel Legends Spider-Man retro card back wave, and now we're getting into some of the bad guys, because in front of me we have the Hobgoblin. Now this is the second time we have gotten the Hobgoblin in recent years, and this first version goes for a pretty penny on the aftermarket, so I'm sure people out there are appreciating an opportunity to get this guy once again. But there are some differences between the two, not only in their colour but also in sculpt. So of course I'll do a full comparison between the two, but I do like the more vibrant colours of this one just in the packaging. You know I'm a sucker for this packaging. But he comes with the Goblin guy, that even says it on the box. We get his man bag and of course a pumpkin bomb as well. Love the art, as you know. Spin it round onto the back. We're getting all the other figures in this wave, and I have been reviewing them on the channel, so make sure you go and check out the videos tab and the playlist. And as always, we get a write-up that reads: deploying an eerie arsenal of pumpkin bombs and razor-sharp bats from his Goblin glider, the criminal mastermind Hobgoblin has the Spider-Man consistently on his guard. So yeah, another big bad from the Rose Gallery. Definitely a worthy opponent for Spider-Man. Let's get him open. So here we have Ned Leeds, aka the Hobgoblin, out of the packaging, and undoubtedly this guy is going to pop on a display. This guy is so much more vibrant compared to the sort of darker tones we got of that previous comic Goblin. Obviously he doesn't have the chainmail, which I'm sure some people will be disappointed about, but this is to match what we see on the animated show, because the colours they've went for do match what we see on screen, even down to the different tones in sort of orange, with the cape and hood being more orange compared to the yellowy tone of the chest, gloves and boots, with the blue legs and arms. Obviously the animated show never had that chainmail, so they have gone to match that. It's just the head sculpt. They could have went that extra mile and gave us a more accurate head sculpt to what we see on the animated show, because otherwise it's just a straight up repaint. But it does match what we see on the screen a little bit more than that comic version, even down to the purple glider and the man bag being purple to stand out against these colours is accurate to what we see on the show. It's just the head sculpt is drastically different. So it's still really a comic version with a few elements, inspiration if you will, from the animated show. But still, I want to put all these on, see how he looks, and of course compare him to that previous darker version of the Hobgoblin, because as you can see, just looking at him there, how much more vibrant this new version is. But the head sculpts are exactly the same, it seems. So we'll do a straight up comparison, but let me put the glider and the bag on first. Now I usually wait until the very end to bring out the rotating base, but I did feel it was the best way to sort of show off the Hobgoblin on the new purple glider with the man bag, and he's even holding the pumpkin bomb pretty tight there as well. And overall he looks great. Like, the colour palette is very nice and definitely matches what we see on that Spider-Man 90s animated show, but the head sculpt's all wrong. The head sculpt is just a straight up redeco to match these colours from that comic Goblin. I think if they went that extra mile and gave us a new head, it would really make a difference. But let's be honest, all of these Spider-Man retro carded figures, none of them are meant to be 100% accurate to what we see on the animated show. They're all just sort of winks and nods, and they're sort of meant to give us the feels of the animated show without being 100% accurate, and that's what this figure does. It definitely gives me those animated vibes, even though I know it's not 100% accurate. And I'm still a sucker for those chainmail sculpted parts on the other one as well, and I think I prefer the more grittier tones, to be honest. But you know me, I'm a sucker for this retro card, so obviously I've got one for the display. But still, let's take a closer look at this guy, and I will do a straight up comparison with that previous version. As I was saying, a new head sculpt really would have set this one apart from the comic version, but as you can see, it is the same head sculpt as the comic version, now just with the matching colour palette for the animated show. But yeah, it's still pretty good. It's still a nice Hobgoblin head. And again, taking a closer look at the figure, you can see the arms is the biggest difference, because we get no chainmail at all. And let me bring in the other one so you can see what's going on. Where the other one actually had the nice glossy chainmail, and again the darker oranges. And again, look at the face, how like dirtier and grittier it is. A little bit of a dark wash on that. The teeth are a little bit dirty. The red's a little bit meaner. So yeah, this other Hobgoblin's a lot meaner and darker looking. But again, it's all about the arms. You can see chainmail, no chainmail, but it's the same gloves. Oh no, the gloves are a little bit different as well, to be fair, but obviously drastic and different colour. The bag on him is brown. The bag on this one's purple. Legs again, chainmail on the old one, no chainmail on the new one. And then boots seem to be similar but different, because obviously the comic one's got the little points, the animated one doesn't have the points, but I even think the cuffs of the boots are different as well. Yeah, they definitely are. So there are differences in the sculpt as well, obviously, but again, very similar. The big difference for me is that chainmail is missing on the arms and the head sculpt is painted drastically different. A little bit more colourful, a little bit more dark and sinister there. But I have heard that the hood comes off on this, and the rumours are true. The hood actually comes off. The head is not glued on to the hood. So the hood is literally a separate piece that sits over the head, obviously. But yeah, there you go. So that's an alternative look for the Goblin. I can't remember if we see this version of the Goblin in the animated show. Maybe he's always got the hood on. I can't quite remember, but still, it's nice to know these little things. A quick look at these figures from the back, just to show you that they are wearing the exact same tattered capes and the same hoods. Obviously, it's all about the different deco. The previous Goblins are a lot darker, like a dirty orange, if you will, compared to the vibrant orange of the animated style. But it is the same hood, same cape, same accessories, down to the bout and the man bags, just all about the different colours. And of course, the gliders are exactly the same, just different decos. So obviously the previous glider was all sort of gunmetal grey, where the new animated style glider is animated colour accurate, as the animated one was purple, and you can even see the little Goblin face there has the red eyes, but it is the exact same sculpt, the exact same peg holes for the feet, where the feet obviously just stick in there. But because he hasn't got the sort of hooks and the sort of sticky out bit of the previous Hobgoblin, these fall out better more. Like, if you know what I mean, like the previous Hobgoblin had the points on the shoes, so you could sort of hook the shoes in and it was tighter, but the new Goblin doesn't have the points on the shoes, so gets a little bit, he falls out a little bit easier, if you will. But there you go, there is a difference in the glider in regards to the colour, mould, exactly the same. And the very last accessory is a little pumpkin bomb, which we have seen in Legends form before. I do like the trailing off green effect with a little green face on there. And he can hold it tight enough for display, but again, don't wiggle him too much, it will fall out. But still, it's a nice touch. So to finish up, here we have both Hobgoblins side by side, just so you can sort of see how they look aesthetically next to each other. You can definitely see the animated one a lot more vibrant, stands out a lot more, and the previous comic one's a little bit darker, a little bit grittier, but still both great Goblins. It is genuinely your preference which one of these Goblins you prefer for your collection. Again, this retro version, not only does it come on the retro card, it's an opportunity for people who missed out on the previous one, as it has been a few years now. But the other one, this new one does give me the animated feels. I just think they missed the mark and should have gave us a new head, and it could have been spot on, could have been near perfect what we've seen on the animated show. The gliders overall, we've said it before, they're too small, and because he hasn't got the points on the shoes, the animated one does slip out a little bit more, so even getting them in this pose was a little bit awkward. So I don't look forward to trying to get him on a flight stand in a decent hovering pose, but we shall see. But you let me know in the comments below, which Hobgoblin do you prefer, the previous comic Goblin or the new animated Goblin? And talking of Goblins, here we have the retro green Goblin for our straight up animated Goblin comparison. And as you can see, both of these have that adjusted colour palette where they're a lot more brighter and more vibrant than their comic counterparts. And these two will definitely pair much better on a shelf for a display. And none of them are 100% accurate to that 90s animated show, but they're close enough. It's all about that nostalgic attachment and those nostalgic feels you get from a figure. And I still get it from these, even though I know they're not 100% spot on. So again, I forgive them, they look great, and I will find a spot for them on the animated sort of era display for sure. Here we have Hammerhead and Shocker compared to the Hobgoblin. All three of these are the villains in this second wave of retro Spider-Man figures. And again, they are all great. They do their job. They look really nice together as well. Very happy with all of these. Go and check out the videos tab and the playlist for all my reviews. Talking of reviews, obviously I've also reviewed the Spider-Man figures in this wave, including the Spider-Armor Mark 1 and the Symbiote Spider-Man, as well as Ben Reilly, all on this new retro body mold. A great wave overall, it really is. Continuing the Spider-Man comparisons, here we have the original OG retro Spider-Man and the Pizza Spider-Man, Ian a Pizza of course. Here we have Mary Jane, Peter Parker and Felicia Hardy Black Cat of course, compared to the Hobgoblin. For some more villains, here we have Venom and Carnage. Some more Spider-Man with Spider-Man UK and Kane. Here we have the retro Kingpin and Taskmaster. Here we have Captain America and the brand new Walmart exclusive Doctor Strange. And last but of course not least, here we have Hobgoblin compared to Captain Britain and Hellfire Hank. And to wrap up, since we've already seen him on the rotating base, let me just get him on a flight stand to show you it is possible. You can get him on a flight stand so it looks like he's flying his Goblin glider. I've just put the flight stand and sort of attached it to his belt, because his belt's a separate piece, so you can get it like hooked underneath the belt, or maybe you can use the cape to hold it up, or maybe use the backpack, or just grip it to his legs. There are definitely different ways to get him on a flight stand. I know Can of Beans had some really nice attachments for the glider, but he doesn't ship to the UK, so unfortunately I have none, but I would like some. But still, this is how I will pose him on a shelf, just up there on a flight stand, hovering on his glider as a Hobgoblin should. And as I said, it's very close to the animated show. It's just all about the different face sculpt. It's a comic face sculpt on a animated style color palette. That's sort of the most accurate way to describe this figure, but it is still undoubtedly a Hobgoblin, and I'm sure a lot of collectors out there will appreciate an opportunity to get this guy again, maybe missing out the first time around, or new collectors jumping on board, because Hobgoblin is sort of a A-list sort of Spider-Man Rogues Gallery villain, if you will. Maybe not the top 6 or top 10, but he's up there, isn't he? He's up there. Where do you rank him? Let me know in the comments below, and if you want to see all my other reviews in this Retro Spider-Man Wave videos tab, find the playlist, but most importantly, please hit that subscribe button. Much appreciated. You can hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. As always, I'm on Instagram at itsdanwho, and I'm on Twitter as well. Tweet me at danwhoreviews. And until then, my name is Dan W, and I will of course see you on the next one.